رمضان شهر الأحسان منصوم وندعي بإيمان لله القلب بيدعي غفرانك عفوك ربي.
Every year, millions of Muslims around the world look forward to the month of Ramadan, which is the best month of the year. Ramadan is the 9th month of the lunar year, and during this month there is the night of Al-Qadr, which is the best night of the year. Fasting the month of Ramadan is an obligation upon the accountable Muslim. This is explicitly stated in verse 183 of Surah Al-Baqarah. The verse means, O believers, fasting is an obligation upon you as it was ordained upon the Muslim nations before you to help you become pious. Moreover, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ named fasting the month of Ramadan as one of the 5 greatest matters of Islam in the famous hadith known as Hadith Jibreel. In this hadith, the Prophet mentioned that the greatest matters of Islam are 5, and he mentioned fasting the month of Ramadan as one of them. From a Qudsi hadith narrated by Imam al-Bukhari, we understand that the reward of every good deed is multiplied from 10 up to 700 times. However, the reward of fasting, when done with sincerity, will be multiplied by as many times as Allah wills. The beginning of the month of Ramadan, as well as the end of the month, is determined by sighting the crescent, as our Prophet told us, and it is not determined by mathematical calculations. Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said what means, fast when you see the crescent of Ramadan, and end your fast when you see the crescent of Shawwal. There are people who are prohibited from fasting, and these are the menstruating female and the postpartum bleeding woman. The menstruating and postpartum bleeding women are not obligated to fast, and they are sinful if they intend to fast. However, they have to make up the missed days. Fasting has 2 integrals in order to be valid. One has to have each night the intention in one's heart to fast the following day of Ramadan. This means one can have the intention in one's heart any time after Maghrib, sunset time, but before the dawn of the day that he wants to fast. The place of the intention is in one's heart, so one is not required to utter it with the tongue. The second integral is to abstain when fasting from dawn till sunset from inserting any substance into the head or the body cavity through an open inlet. However, swallowing one's pure saliva while in the mouth is permissible. The nostrils, anus, and mouth are examples of open inlets. Also, one has to abstain during this time from sexual intercourse, masturbation, inducing vomit, except if it comes unintentionally and one does not swallow it. Also, one has to abstain from committing apostasy, that is, any type of blasphemy, kufr, that takes the person out of Islam. One has to always avoid apostasy to die as a Muslim. Even when the person returns to Islam by saying the 2 testifications of faith, he or she has to make up that day after Ramadan, but they still abstain from eating and other invalidators of fasting during the whole day. In regards to what is considered an open inlet, the eye is not considered one. Hence, one can use eye drops while fasting. Also, getting intravenous intramuscular injections, inhaling incense, or smelling perfume does not invalidate the fasting. As to whether the ear is an open inlet or not, there is difference in opinion among the scholars. One's fasting is valid as long as one does not become insane, even if it were for a moment, and if one does not lose consciousness the whole day, that is from dawn until sunset. On the other hand, sleeping throughout the day does not invalidate the fasting. But by sleeping the whole day, the person would miss out on gaining more reward by performing good deeds throughout the day. There are days on which fasting is unlawful. And these are the day of the feast of Al-Fitr, the day of the feast of Al-Adha, the 3 Tashriq days after the day of Al-Adha, and the last half of the month of Sha'ban, except if one joins the fasting of these with those before them, or one is fasting for an expiation, makeup, vow, or habitual practice, like the one who usually fasts Mondays and Thursdays. Also, it is unlawful to fast the day of doubt, except if also the person is fasting that day for an expiation, makeup, vow, or habitual practice. I ask Allah Ta'ala to enable us to fast the month of Ramadan and to end our lives as complete believers.
لله القلب بيدعي